over the past couple of weeks I've been playing a little bit with, I just got an Android phone, and I was quite interested to see how I could put an app in it and see what it could do, because it's got Bluetooth, it's got sensors, and it's quite an interesting tool. And I found that actually there is, for those of you who know the processing programming language, which is an open source programming language for people who don't know too much about programming, but which is quite an easy entry point into animating graphics, playing with audio, playing with video. Processing has actually made a port of their programming language for the Android platform. So if you know how to program in processing a little bit, it's completely straightforward to put your processing application on the telephone. Not all the libraries in processing are available. For example, all the sound libraries, they don't work on the phone yet. But all the basic functions, so the graphic functions, are there. So here, just to show you how straightforward, I got a processing sketch, which I can run in the, see like the, you just need to download two things from the web, which are all free. Download the processing for Android, which is 2.0, it's a beta version. And the main difference with the normal processing is that you got this standard box in the top right corner, which can be jigged to Android. So when you move it to Android, I will show you that in a second, it moves to an application which can be transferred to your telephone. So here I got the basic stuff. I'm not sure. So I'm running it in the standard way. So just a very simple test thing. I can change the color of thing, adjust the speed of my. So this runs the computer. If I move to the, so now my phone is plugged into the computer, I move to Android. So here I got an indication that run in emulator. So if you don't have an Android phone but you want to try your app anyway, you can run it on your computer in an emulator, which is really slow. It takes about 10 minutes to load the emulator, so just definitely I recommend having the phone. It's so much faster. So if you just press shift, it says run on device, and now it's going to hopefully find my device. It takes a little while to build the project, translate it to Android application, and then it will find the device and load it up there. All the information on how to do that, there is a wiki page which you can access from the processing website. If you're interested, I can put the links on the Facebook, so you can really have a look. It's, you need to download the Android software development kit, which is quite a heavy piece of software, but once it's on the computer, it just runs the background, you don't have to worry about it. Okay, so now the sketch is launched on the device, and here it is. So now I got, instead of my mouse, I can change the color by pressing the buttons, can change the speed. So this was my first Android application. But I was like, okay, so just to show you how straightforward it is to put something on the phone. But my real interest in developing application for the Android is that I got this idea of having an installation with robots or electronic devices. And I would like, maybe at some point, that people who have a telephone enter the installation and they can interact with the robots in a different way. They could download the app before they go to the show, and then they go and see the robot, and if their Bluetooth is activated, they can actually exchange information with the robot. So my first challenge was, how do I get the Bluetooth to speak to, for example, an Arduino, which is what most of my robots have inside them these days. So I got, if you remember, we had Jarkman. That's, we had a person presenting at Dorkbot, I think it was the first one, the second one. So I had this drawing machine called the Sketchy. It's like two servo motors and a calligraphic pen. And with his telephone, he could take a photograph. There was a Bluetooth link between his Android phone and the drawing machine. The machine was drawing the photograph. So Jarkman is a very good programmer. He could crack Android like 10 years ago. We had to wait for processing to come. I'm not a very good programmer, but with processing I can somehow get a little bit where he was a long time ago. Now he was like programming for NASA or something. So I wanted to bring something a bit more advanced, but I fried an Arduino this afternoon, don't know what happened, so I had to revert back to my breadboard system. So basically what I've got here is a little Bluetooth module, the same as Jarkman uses in his sketches. They are coming from China, they're about £6 on eBay, very cheap. I've got a light sensitive resistor, I've got an RGB LED, and I've got a switch. So using the same processing system, but this time including in the code the language to drive the Bluetooth chip inside the telephone, I got this application. So here the phone is looking at the available Bluetooth devices around itself. I know the one on the Bluetooth module is called Linvor, so I press on it. And this little red flashing light should stabilize into a solid light, so it means the phone and the Bluetooth connector are now connected together. So just shoot the magic. It's clear. So I can turn the LED, turn red, I can turn green, red again. I can also turn it off, that's great. I can also turn the blue on. I can adjust somehow the brightness of the blue one. I can turn it off. I can also, so if I leave the phone here, can activate the torch. And here the torch is activated actually because it's plugged into the light sensitive resistor. It actually, when it goes dark, the torch goes on. I also got a switch which I quite like. It's the magic switch that turns the torch on. So that's about the level of my Arduino skills so far, but it's quite promising because it didn't take me that long to get this sort of basic control. So I got two-way Bluetooth communication, and I got the processing programming language, which is reasonably straightforward to get to grips with, and which is quite powerful when you start digging into it, because they're on Java and C++, and you can really expand it with libraries, and it's fairly flexible and powerful bit of code. So I think there is good possibilities in there, and it's really not too much learning curve if you are already a little bit into Arduino and processing. So you can get stuff on your phones quite easily. So if you got questions,
something which you could actually get to do, as you're thinking now, something which might probably be your sort of interest, I suppose, is with your robot. I wonder if can you get your robot, or that one which you did, like that little one you had with Design Wales or something. Can you get it so it sets up almost like it's going to hit a point there, or a point there, just a small variant, and get him in his other hand to hold a mobile phone, so that he's actually choosing which thing he's actually going to do, almost like on a random basis.
Yes,
I wonder how sort of freaky that would be if you sort of put him in front of an audience and said he's deciding what he's doing himself by actually typing.
That's difficult, I think. There's lots of possibilities there. Plus, what I have not tapped into at all is the networking, where the robot could receive a phone call or text message, and the robot can.
Oh, that'd be freaky if you pick the phone and there's a robot on the other end. Not that you know.
Could call you and say, okay, I'm in the dark.
Could you rig it up so that if there are people in the audience that have all got phones, that they compete for control?
Yeah, that's something I've not really experienced with. I'm not sure if more than one Bluetooth device can be connected to one single Bluetooth device. Because there is also ways to use the Wi-Fi system, which I mean this is just like scraping the surface. Under the level of complexity as well will probably get quite quickly too difficult for me to comprehend, but because I can when you start dealing with proper mobile phone telecommunication, the way to deal with all the data, you need to be quite clever programmer to deal with that. But for also like communicating with one or several robots in a confined environment, I think that's within my reach. So But I mean, so much can be handled, the GPS, I mean, there's tons of stuff which can be tapped into.
Aren't you afraid that you might actually fry your phone?
Well, it's a risk, yeah.
You just go with it.
I mean, mostly you wouldn't fry it, but you could damage the program. So I guess it would be wise to have a backup somewhere. The other day I just had the camera disappeared for a while. I was like, oh no, that's okay. But I just had to
Just fiddle around.
reinstall the application. Yeah, I think that's the same. Because to activate the torch, you need to tap into the Android library to drive the camera. Because that's the flash that you actually turn on all the time. So when I fiddle with the Android camera, I lost all my camera functions apart from the torch.
Press the fiddle.
And if you're on the other side and you're having this, is it something?
Yeah, this one I don't know how to.
It's a real pain in the ass if you want to do it on that.
Is it harder on the iPhone?
Unbelievably difficult because you're talking about jailbreak and loads of nonsense.
This one is beautiful because it's so simple.
I'm
And if
impressed how easy that is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you've played around with it.
No, but just I know processing and seeing the way you've exported it there is
Yeah, it's
nice.
completely.
To put it on an iPhone, it takes hours to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
Alright.
This one, like it was, I mean, I don't know, probably about 20, 30 hours work, 50, say maximum. And say I don't come from programming background, it's just the processing stuff. Then I had to dig a bit to find how to plug the torch in, like a bit of.
But at least it's nice to hear that it took you some time. Like I know quite a lot of people on the course of Dragon who just look at that and they'll have it done in like 2 hours and you think, how the blinking heck thing? So at least it does take time
It does take time,
for normal, for letting you, well. I think I'm digging a hole for myself there.
Okay, anyway, that's stop.
Sorry, Paul. Sorry, put
No, it's fine, no problem. So if you want to have a look at the code or whatever, if you're interested, just come this way. I think we can break the formality and start the smaller conversations. Thanks for coming.
Shame Phil's not here anymore. We could have had
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, if we do unplugged, we should do music.
Yeah, I think so. Dorkbot Jam.
It's a